Thanks as always for tuning in to the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. It's Weather for Weather Geeks, Tuesday evening, and this is the start of November and the final leg of meteorological fall. The months of September, October, November make up meteorological fall, and the month started out on kind of a gloomy note today. Quick time-lapse from our transmitter tower on the south side of Youngstown. Yikes. Just a slate gray overcast, occasionally a little light rain and some drizzle. It was just, it's the beginning of cloud season. November the 1st. From now until March, we're one of the cloudiest places in the continental U.S., and today certainly fit the bill. But we didn't have any of this like we did 2 years ago. On today's date, we had 1.2 inches of snow. Now, November of 2020 was actually a warmer than average month, but the month got off to a fast start with a quick 1.2 inches worth of snow. November that year was warm. December was quite a bit colder and quite a bit snowier as well. All right, during the month of November, our daylight loss is not quite as rapid as earlier on this season. We're actually heading into what we call solar winter, coming up in a handful of days, right around the 6th. That's the 3-month period where we have the least amount of daylight, but the daylight loss peaks back in September and very early October. During the month of November, though, we lose about 58 minutes worth of daylight after losing an hour and 20 minutes worth of daylight in the month of October. All right, so we didn't have much sunshine at all today, but the clouds are thinning out this evening, and this is a pretty good setup for some fog tonight. Now, we had some patches of locally dense fog last night, but I think this will be more of a widespread thing as we head through the night tonight. All the ingredients are there for what we call radiation fog, a clearing sky. After the clouds thin out this evening, the sky will be pretty clear for a time. Clearing skies, calm winds as high pressure builds in, not much of a breeze at all overnight tonight, and of course, I should say, moisture lingering near the ground. The dew points are actually kind of elevated for this time of the year, and of course, we've had a little bit of light rain and some drizzle at times over the last couple of days, so the ground is kind of wet, and a long, early November night means that fog is a pretty good bet overnight tonight. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if the National Weather Service did issue a dense fog advisory for parts of our area later on tonight into our Wednesday morning. So if you are an early morning commuter, be on the lookout for some localized reductions in visibility. Then it's going to turn out to be a very nice afternoon on our Wednesday once the fog burns off. Sunshine in abundance, second half of the day. There could be some patches of fog Thursday morning. Don't think it'll be as big of a deal or as widespread as Wednesday morning. Otherwise, yeah, beautiful day. Thursday, lots and lots of sun. And as we wrap up the week on Friday, this warm front heads our way. We'll see a steady increase in those high, thin cirrus clouds, making for kind of a milky sky Friday, but no big deal. Temperatures will be off to the races, 70 or so on Friday, and setting the stage for a very balmy first weekend of the month. We have no more rain chances in our forecast until Saturday night and parts of Sunday. I think the wettest part of the next 7 days will likely be Saturday night. Try to dry things out by Sunday afternoon. We're not going to get too cute with the timing of Sunday showers at this point, but my gut feeling is it's mostly in the morning hours. Election day is, of course, 1 week from today, and I can't rule out some showers at this point, but right now we're going to keep our forecast dry for the time being. There's some model disagreement on a few things early next week. We are 7 days out after all, I should say. One thing we are more confident in, the temperatures, being on the mild side for Election Day next Tuesday. If you're an early morning voter heading off to the polls, you can expect temperatures probably in the lower 50s. We'll make our way probably into the 60s for the afternoon next Tuesday. Let's talk a little bit about some of the modeling here as we go through the next couple of weeks. This is today's run of the European, what we call ensemble modeling, basically 51 different versions of the European model blended together to give you kind of an average of all those 51 runs. And we're looking at temperature anomalies here at about 5,000 feet above our heads, but it gives us a good proxy of the air masses that we'll actually experience. And as we roll forward towards the end of the week, boy, is it going to turn cold and stormy out west. Look at this big chunk of cold coming down the west coast, and then downstream of that, holy warmth, Batman, end of the week, end of the weekend, not only here locally, but in much of the country east of the Mississippi River. Now, as we head into the weekend and next week, the cold will reload in British Columbia, Alberta, and then coming into the Pacific Northwest, there's some Barney cold there. Purples here descending down into the northern Rockies of the lower 48 states while we stay on the warm side. Now, this is kind of the overall pattern through about Election Day. after Election Day and towards the second half of next week, things will begin to change somewhat. Some of that cold over the Pacific Northwest and along the West Coast will try to bleed east during the second half of next week. So here's next Friday, the 11th. Our warm anomalies have shifted off to the east. Some of this cold starts bleeding east. Now, we will not have the kind of anomalous cold around here like they'll have in the western U.S. In fact, it'll probably be kind of back to just sort of average for a time at the end of next week, but it will be distinctly cooler end of next week than the start of next week. And as we head through time here, you're not going to see big warm anomalies returning on this set of modeling through the 16th. So this is right around mid-month, 15th into the 16th. Generally speaking, the flavor here advertised by this modeling is for a lot of the lower 48 states to be on the chilly side, but at this point, nothing points towards anything crazy unusual. It's also the first day of the month, and so we get an update from what we call the CAN-SIPs, basically long-range seasonal modeling from the Canadians. We'll get the seasonal update from the European Center coming up around the 5th of the month, maybe the 6th. But at the very start of the month, we get this set of modeling. I don't show this often on this video, but it does have some value, particularly in the winter season. It did sniff out last December's mild flavor across the lower 48 states pretty well. Didn't do quite as well in January and February, but it did pretty well in December. When we saw this modeling at the start of November last year. It advertises, as we go into December, a distinctly different looking December than last year. Last year, December was marked by a lot of anomalous warmth east of the Rockies. This December, the modeling is advertising more chunks of cold air descending out of northwestern Canada and making inroads into the eastern U.S. I'm not sure yet if this December will be unusually cold. There are some signs that that might be the case, but I'm not real confident of that just yet. I am confident that it will be noticeably different than last December, which was the fourth warmest on record. It's not exactly going out on a limb to say it'll be a lot colder than the fourth warmest December on record, but I guess at this early stage of the game, it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up not only being colder than last December, but by several degrees, and that may increase the chances for some early season wintry weather. We had hardly any snow at all, of course, last December. It is on the table at this very early stage that this December will be colder and quite a bit snowier as well. We'll talk about December in length, of course, when I debut the winter forecast on Thursday, November the 17th. In the meantime, thanks for watching tonight, and check out a fresh edition of this video, same time, same place on Wednesday.